There's something about being surrounded by trees. There's a cushion you feel between your concrete life and the energy of the natural world. The trees, the shafts of light breaking the canopy. There's really a moving peace and quiet in the forest. See, just thinking about it makes me go full poetry. I'm available for writing greeting cards, by the way. Actually, that isn't quiet. Yep, that's pretty loud, but I love that chorus of cicadas, birdsong, and other critters I can't see. That chorus is actually one part of the reason I decided to schedule spending time in the forest as an important part of my entrepreneur routine. It might sound weird to folks who think of entrepreneurship only in terms of meetings, clacking away at the laptop or working on projects. I know, I used to think the same thing, but I realized my mental state, my focus drives everything I do. Achieving mental harmony always seems easier when I'm out in the natural world. There's a term for what I'm doing right now. It's called forest bathing. Funny thing is, I didn't even know I'd been doing forest bathing all this time. You know, when I'm out in nature like this, I just feel a sense of calm, a sense of peace. I can't quite put my finger on it, but whenever I come out to forested areas like this, I just feel more centered. I get a sense of balance. Now, I'm the most cynical person you'll ever come across, so when you come at me with talk about forest bathing, well, you might as well toss in energy crystals and the infinity stones and all that claptrap. My eyes will roll all the way in the back of my head. But the thing is that there is scientific evidence of the link between being out in nature and your mental health. There's also apparently a link between forested areas, the natural world, and your physical well-being. Where I live in Trinidad, in the tropics, there are lots of communities on the edge of forested areas, so access is pretty easy. Well, to be more accurate, it's more jungle than forest. I have to be swatting off endless squadrons of mosquitoes, but after a while you forget about it. Out here in the bush, as we call it, I get to indulge the explorer side of my personality. Well, I'm not actually going to go into this cave. I've seen how that horror movie turns out for the nosy types. Not that long ago, I was in the forest every week. That's back when I was producing nature and travel television shows. Shooting outdoors was just what I did for a living. Looking back on it now, being out in the forest was when I was at my happiest. I hadn't thought of the mechanics of spending time in the forest, but when you're out here, it's like a form of meditation. You give your brain permission to put everything else on pause and just focus on the moment. No emails, no phone calls, no endless scrolling on the internet. Just you and this. You hear that? Those are the cicadas. Now, when I was doing a lot of outdoor work for my production company, at the time I didn't really notice the therapeutic benefits of being here. I just didn't think about it because I was in it every day. It's only when I cut back on that sort of work I started to do more indoor stuff. Well, that's when I started to notice the absence of those therapeutic benefits. So, for example, I would just get these bouts of brain fog. Simple tasks that would normally take me an hour to do, that stretched to 3 hours, maybe even a day. Maybe I wouldn't even get it done in a day. So I started to notice it would get a lot more difficult for me to be productive. So I really miss being outdoors, the kind of energy, the reset, the balance that being outdoors gives me. It really gives me that boost and helps my mind focus. When I stopped producing television shows and my business changed, I stopped coming out here. I got this crazy idea in my head that any activity that wasn't in some way directly tied to my business was wasting time. I didn't get that taking the time to be outdoors is actually an investment in myself and my business. It can actually make me better at what I do. So I'm going to be spending more time reconnecting with the earth. I have to stop seeing getting outdoors as taking me away from my work. Being here in nature is a big part of getting those creative juices flowing. It gives my mind the space and tranquility to be calm and do inspired work. It doesn't take away from what I do, it's essential to what I do. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to give up my urban existence and retreat to a cabin in the woods or a cave that's very damp in there. I'm just not cut out for that kind of life. What I will say though is I'm going to make returning to nature as often as I can an important part of my entrepreneurial life, because I feel when I come out here it gives me the energy to be more creative, more productive. It makes me more connected with myself. So taking the time to be out in forested areas like this is an important part of my entrepreneurial persona. Hey, how about you? Do you find that when you come out in nature you feel differently? You feel better when you're in forested areas? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your experience is. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.